time has come. You've seen the map. We've looked at the figures, and NBC News now makes its projection for the presidency. Reagan is our projected winner. Ronald Wilson Reagan of California, a sports announcer, a film actor, a governor of California, is our projected winner at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. On this election night, we have projected Ronald Reagan the winner.
I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Now, I congratulate you, sir.
We are a nation that has a government, not the other way around. And this makes us special among the nations of the earth. Our government has no power except that granted it by the people. It is time to check and reverse the growth of government, which shows signs of having grown beyond the consent of the governed. It is my intention to curb the size and influence of the federal establishment and to demand recognition of the distinction between the powers granted to the federal government and those reserved to the states or to the people. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance.
Sorry I can't be with you tonight. I'm in Florida with my sister. We spend a week together each year. She's a big Democrat. That's about all we can take of one another. And she doesn't think, as I think, that Reagan was the best. My two best years in the Senate were the years I was in the Republican leadership. I was chairman of the Senatorial Campaign Committee. And every week, the Republican leaders of the House and of the Senate would get together with Ronald Reagan in the cabinet room in the White House every week that we were there and every week that he was there, 30 or 35 times a year. And I never left one of those meetings and turned to Bob Dole and asked him, what did he say? If Ronald Reagan was interested in the subject, and if he took a position, you knew what he said. And he was most definitive. He was not in doubt. He did not go to Cairo like the present president and make a speech apologizing to the United States. He didn't think that was necessary, nor do I. This is one of the great biographies of Ronald Reagan by Dinesh D'Souza. And Dinesh was working in the White House, and the title is How an Ordinary Man Became an Extraordinary Leader. And in the preface is entitled The Wise Men and the Dummy. And the wise men are from Cambridge, Massachusetts, where my sister is from, and they are from Harvard and MIT, and they, of course, considered Ronald Reagan the dummy. And it tells a story about how they said that the Russian system was just fine. That the Russian system, indeed, one of them, Paul Samuelson, and you may have used his economics text in college, he won the Nobel Prize, but he said that the Russian system, what counts as results, no one can doubt that the Soviet planning system has been a powerful energy for economic growth. And even as late as 1989, Lester Thoreau of MIT was saying the remarkable performance of the Soviet Union and its economy. George Shultz used to say to me that they can make missiles that go 10,000 miles and land on a dime, but they can't make aspirin. They didn't have a very sound economy, and Ronald Reagan knew it. And as early as 1981, he said the the end of communism was at hand, that their obituary was already being written. And when the Berlin Wall crashed and the Soviet Union came apart in 1989, 1990, Schlesinger, who was one of the members of the wise men up in Cambridge, said nobody anticipated this, that nobody could foresee history, but of course they were mistaken. Ronald Reagan foresaw it, Ronald Reagan prepared for it, Ronald Reagan instituted policies to make it happen, and he talked about it early on. Ronald Reagan was just a phenomenon, and we enjoyed being together with him, and we enjoyed the whole time in the Senate. He was the greatest president of my lifetime.
The crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger honored us for the manner in which they lived their lives. We will never forget them, nor the last time we saw them this morning, as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye and slipped the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God.
You all knew that some things are worth dying for. One's country is worth dying for, and democracy is worth dying for because it's the most deeply honorable form of government ever devised by man. There is one sign the Soviets can make that would be unmistakable, that would advance dramatically the cause of freedom and peace. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Thank you for the opportunity to send my greetings from Washington. Earlier this month, we honored the 100th birthday of one of our nation's greatest leaders, one of the men in whose honor you have gathered tonight, President Ronald Wilson Reagan. As many of you know, I had the high honor of serving as President Reagan's military aide 30 years ago. As a young Marine major, I was fortunate to learn a great deal from that great man. With an innate self-assurance that seems almost foreign in today's poll-driven political world, Ronald Reagan was a man of strong convictions who spoke unapologetically. He believed fervently in liberty and freedom and fairness, and he believed we had a responsibility as the shining city upon a hill to serve as a beacon of light for all of humanity. As he prepared to deliver an address at the Brandenburg Gate, President Reagan knew a powerful message needed to be sent to convey the virtues of and need for Western democracy. Despite being counseled by his most trusted advisors not to use language that might inflame the tension between East and West Germany, he spoke from his heart and uttered the now famous line, "Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." But even more inspiring than his rhetoric was his willingness to act. In the spring of 1981, the Professional Air Traffic Controllers Organization called an illegal strike. It was early in the president's first term. He had previously been a union president. He didn't want to come across as an anti-union Republican, and PATCO had been one of the few unions to support him in 1980. But the strike was illegal. He would not accept it. He gave them a grace period of 2 days to come back. If they didn't, they'd be fired. They didn't believe him. Most didn't come back, so he fired them, effectively breaking the union. President Reagan's principled stand made it clear. He was lighthearted, but not to be taken lightly. Ronald Reagan inspired men and women of all political persuasions to put the best interest of our nation ahead of personal and political divides. By staying true to his vision of America as a beacon for the rest of the world, he brought freedom, hope, and opportunity to millions around the world. For the immeasurable contribution of Ronald Reagan to the office of the presidency, and to our great nation, we all owe a debt of gratitude. Thank you, Mr. President. We miss you.
Ours was the first revolution in the history of mankind that truly reversed the course of government, and with three little words: we the people. We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car, and we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are. Our Constitution is a document in which we, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do. We, the people, are free. This belief has been the underlying basis for everything I've tried to do these past 8 years. But back in the 1960s, when I began, it seemed to me that we'd begun reversing the order of things. That through more and more rules and regulations and confiscatory taxes, the government was taking more of our money, more of our options, and more of our freedom. I went into politics in part to put up my hand and say, stop. I was a citizen politician, and it seemed the right thing for a citizen to do. I think we have stopped a lot of what needed stopping, and I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited. There's a clear cause and effect here that is as neat and predictable as a law of physics. As government expands, liberty contracts.